Welcome to episode 83 of The Leap Home, Trilogy Part 1.
In this week's episode, Sam investigates a curious incident involving the death of a sheriff's deputy, witnessed by the same 10-year-old child who was the last person to see the deceased's missing child alive 2 years earlier. Complicating matters further, the 10-year-old is Abigail Fuller, and Sam has leapt into her father, the sheriff. With a furious widow desperate for answers, and the facts posing difficult questions, can Sam solve the case before someone else takes justice into their own hands?
Well, we're a little jumpy tonight, aren't we?
Jumpy? Yeah, I'm a little jumpy. It's been kind of an interesting day.
Good morning, Ian. How are things?
Not too bad. Gerry, had an interesting day so far?
Yep, I've had a jumpy one.
Jumping?
Always.
50 a day.
Minimal.
Keeps the doctor away. Thought this was an interesting story. Some really questionable behaviour to be called out.
Oh, very, very much so. Another good episode, however.
Yeah, strong performances.
Yep, strong season.
Yeah, your favourite so far. I feel like you think this is you just take a stance against the orthodoxy.
Everything I've heard up to this point is people are telling us or noting that it's a shark jumping season, but no, it's been very strong.
I think it's probably just that you don't like normal Quantum Leap and you like this stuff.
Maybe.
That's why you've been so critical for 4 years.
Quite possibly. Before we begin this week, Ian, I've got some errors or omissions.
To pick up from last week's episode? Omissions. But it's from your emissions.
I'm one of those moods.
Okay, let's go.
So they're both related to you.
Okay, what did you say?
Last week, I believe you said that there's only been 2 times before when Sam's leapt into the same year. That was part of your trivia.
Did I?
Yep. Last week was the second time. There were one previous.
Yeah, not including the Harvey Oswald one.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say not including the Harvey Oswald, because not only does he leap within the same year as Lee Harvey Oswald, at the very end he leaps into the Secret Service man, doesn't he?
Yes, within the same day.
Yes.
Yes, so yes, excluding that unusual episode.
Okay.
I thought that was taken for granted if I didn't say it. I probably did say it. You probably edited it out.
You did not say that.
I feel confident it was in my notes.
It was not, and
Okay.
that's why...
And what's your other error?
Your other error is the incorrect use of the word alternate. You talked about an alternate ending, and it's an alternative ending. It's not an this is an American thing that people get wrong. An alternate does not mean a different ending. It's not. You should be saying alternative.
I don't think that matters.
It does. Alternate is you switch between 2 different things.
Yeah, it's a second ending.
No.
Switch in.
I'm sure we've discussed this before, but alternate does not mean the same as alternative, and they should not be. They're not synonyms.
I'm pretty sure that alternate ending is a well-known phrase.
Yeah, it's wrong.
People know it refers to a different ending that's been filmed for the same
but
time.
I'm just saying it's wrong. It shouldn't be used.
I think it's right by common usage.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, if you agree with Gerry, don't bother contacting us on social media. But if you don't, we are at Leap Home Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, etc. The usual. theleaphome.com, for show notes, and every episode available 1 week early on the Columbo Podcast Productions YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell so you hear about these episodes as soon as they pop up.
I think we should begin discussing this episode. We can alternate between ourselves when we chat.
I'll offer an alternative to your views.
You see what that is there? 2 different uses of different words.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Mean 2 different things.
Yeah, but it can also mean the same thing in certain circumstances.
You can talk, I'll talk. We'll alternate.
I'll offer an alternate opinion.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You might offer an alternative opinion. Let's crack on.
We start off in much the same way as we finished off a week ago, with Sam leaping into the body of a sheriff, finding himself looking down on a bloated corpse in a creek and realising it is dead.
Yeah, I think this opening scene represents the overall sort of darkness that we find in this episode. It's certainly not one of the light-hearted ones.
Yeah, I think they try and do that with the music as well a couple of times. I think they maybe missed the mark with the music. It was too creepy. But yeah, this scene's quite nicely pitched.
Yeah. Sam is standing over this body. Did you say he's got a broken paddle in his hand?
I did not say that, but he did.
Yeah. Oh boy.
After the credits, or the opening credits, if you want to be very specific, we return to the creek and find it's the 8th of August, 1955, and Sam is dragging this body to dry land and reflecting in voiceover that this is the 3rd time he's leapt in to find a dead body. Do you remember the other 2?
No.
Okay, so off the top of my head, there is the one with the mother that had been murdered, with the 2 small kids when he leapt in, and What would the other one be? Temptation Eyes, did he see a body when he leapt in that one? Or the one when he was
This is poor.
dating the corpse?
This is poor.
Well, you don't even remember them?
No, but I didn't bring it up. You're saying off the top of my head. Do you remember then off the top of my head? If you're going to do it,
I
do a
didn't
little
look
bit
it
of
up either.
research.
Nah.
Exactly.
Sam thinks
Precisely.
it's the third time. He doesn't remember anything anyway. It's probably only the second. Anyway, he says it's his least favourite thing to do is to show up and find a corpse.
Unless he's having sex with it.
Well, that was that one time only.
He also discovers that he is, in fact, the local sheriff when his deputy, I think his name is Bo
Loman.
he wades over and is shocked to ID the man as Bart Ader and suggests that it was maybe the moonshine that got to him.
Yeah, I think Bart was another deputy.
Was
in
he?
the sheriff's office. He's wearing the uniform, I think.
Right, okay.
Sam makes an odd comment when he sees his own sheriff's badge, talking about how it should help him to know something.
Yeah, I think he proclaims out loud that he is the sheriff.
Yeah, Loman tells him that the badge doesn't come with all the answers, but does notice, having made his comment about moonshine, that there appears to be some serious bruising to the side of Bart's head.
Sam then timidly suggests that they get the body back to town.
Well, before that though, Sam says he thinks that the guy was dead before he got hit.
Mm-hmm.
And when Loman asks him how he figures that, he kind of mumbles something. I thought he said guess, or I guess.
Yeah, I think he would, modern science, he can tell by the
Mottling or something.
whatever, yeah, how the blood's settled or not settled or whatever that.
But he doesn't want to go into his medical knowledge. Maybe that's
No, but
unusual for him to be so circumspect.
Sure, but maybe he just realises that the science of that day wouldn't make sense that they know that.
He doesn't even know what day it is.
No, that's true.
So he's done a good job there to catch himself for once, if we're going with that theory. Anyhow, they agree to take him back to town, which seems to me like disturbing a crime scene.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have the same. I mean, for a start, it's in the water, and you don't have it. It's pre O.J. Simpson, so there's not.
Again, Sam doesn't know what year it is.
Yeah,
Maybe we can guess from the vehicle that the other guy's driving.
Yeah, but even the latest leaps would have been pre O.J. Simpson, and that's really when everyone realised that you had to preserve a crime scene. Before that, it was a little bit, I mean, you saw Columbo. Columbo used to peel eggs, eat bananas, and smoke cigars, obviously, around the crime scene. And
I'm glad you did it in that order.
Yeah.
And peel cigars, smoke bananas, and
Who
what was the
knows?
other one? So anyway, they load up this body onto a tarp, haul it across the creek to their vehicle, and Loman asks Sam what's he going to tell Bart's wife, Lita.
He jokes about her mood the last time he brought Bart back, and he was alive then, so how's she going to react to this? It's not really...
It's an unusual reaction to the death of their colleague.
Yeah, are you sure it's a colleague? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's a deputy, yeah.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
I didn't take that note, I must admit. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sam suggests that they get an autopsy started, but apparently Doc Kinman is away somewhere delivering a baby, which is that particular mother's 16th or 17th.
That's got to sting. Or maybe not at that point.
Yeah. So there's no chance of an autopsy being performed that day.
So they sling him in the back of the police car, and then Bo reveals that he was discovered by a 10-year-old Abigail, and this must have really disturbed her.
Yes, it also transpires that this is Sam's daughter,
Yes.
who has seen some terrible things, apparently.
Enough for 2 lifetimes. And so he decides to go and make sure she is all right, and Bo has to drive, which is quite nice because obviously Sam wouldn't know where to go.
Yes, so he slides into the passenger seat and lets Loman take the initiative. And as they head off, we get this sort of creepy scene where we see a doll and a locket sitting at the side of the lake.
We do. I didn't notice the locket first time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go back, you can... Because I did go back when a locket gets mentioned, just to double check that. It's a big silver thing.
Now, as Bo drops Sam at his house, he notes that he doesn't like this leap and that he has found out he is in Louisiana and is the father of a girl who found the murdered man.
The bludgeoned, dumped body, yes.
Yeah.
So Sam gets out the car and asks Loman to take the body to the funeral parlour for now, and is pleased when Loman offers to call the widow.
At this point, Abigail rushes out with another doll and gives him a big hug. She's obviously upset.
She's followed by a familiar-looking housekeeper, Marie.
Is she familiar?
Yeah, she was the housekeeper in a previous episode.
Ah, okay. Didn't recognise her.
We'll get to that later on.
Sure.
Abigail gets Sam to agree to the suggestion that it was there where I said it was, wasn't it? She immediately comes off as a little bit manipulative.
She's a weirdo. She's a creepy... I mean, you get these creepy kids. Normally it's in a horror movie. And this is borderline... This is reminds me of maybe like an American Gothic, that type of...
Yes, very much. But almost every time she speaks to Sam, it feels like she is directing him to say or do something that she wants.
Yeah, I don't like her, don't trust her. Don't care if she is guilty, innocent of anything. She's a creepy little kid.
Very much so. And she should get her own motif for that. Like, musically, I think it would have been appropriate. She tells Sam that Bart was shouting at her and wouldn't leave her alone, which is a revelation for Sam, who up until now thought she'd just come across the body.
What was he shouting?
To give back Violet's locket.
Right, so Violet's what? We don't know what this.
We don't know yet.
Okay.
No. But Marie says that she'd heard a different story from Abigail, that he was dead when she came across him, but Abigail denies that. She says he was dead when she ran away.
Yeah. Now this locket is quite an emotive subject. It seems that she, Abigail that is, was saving to buy it with her mother, but someone else bought it first, even though they knew she wanted it. So obviously Violet has jumped in there.
Yes,
Which
and
is fine.
we get more on that later on.
That's up to Violet. If you haven't got the money, somebody else can. You can't. It's not first dibs on it. You can.
No, it's in a shop. You can buy it. But we do hear later on that Abigail's version of this story is that Violet bought it to then taunt her for being poor and crazy, I think. But we'll come to that part of the story.
How poor are they? They've got staff.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's...
Her father's a local sheriff. I mean, he's not a millionaire, but
no.
I'm sure it's a reasonably well-paid job, certainly in comparison to everyone else in the community.
Yeah. So maybe that's just a child's interpretation.
Or is it that Violet's actually quite rich, so everyone else is poor by comparison?
Could be that. Anyhow, Abigail denies taking the locket from Violet, and Marie confirms that Lita was there, the mother, I think, and now the widow, and saw her search Abigail's room and find no locket.
Of course, that doesn't prove anything.
It just proves it's not in her room, or they couldn't find it.
She's on to say that she thought Bart was going to hit her, and so she ran away, but when she looked back, he was lying in the water. Yeah, right, that doesn't sound plausible at all.
Marie says that she wants this nightmare to go away, saying first Violet and now her daddy. Abigail doesn't want to think about this and asks her dad to sit on the swing with her.
This is where it all gets really sort of creepy, yeah. So they sit there and she asks him to be told all the ways that he loves her.
Oh, wait, before that though, Marie asks Sam to fix the fuses because the downstairs lights aren't working.
Right.
And we find out later on he doesn't do it.
Okay.
Yes, as you say, yes. She wants to know all the ways that he loves her, but he serves her up a few, not even cliches, because the things that he says aren't ways that things love things.
No, what like?
He says like the stars love the sky, or like bees love a rose, or roses love the bees, or something.
Well, a bee does love a rose because that's...
No, it's the other way around. He said that the roses or that the flowers love the bees, but flowers, again, inanimate, don't have any feelings towards bees.
Okay, I'm more concerned about the fact that whatever he chooses seems to satisfy her. I would have thought her and her father would have a special language, or that this is something they've done through before.
So, whoever Sam sings, presumably the first time she's heard.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. She snuggles in anyway, saying that she loves him. So I think she was just looking for some kind of
comfort anyway. Yeah.
Recognition or acceptance or approval, whatever you want to call it.
Later on, Sam puts her to bed and closes the door when Al arrives, and he doesn't think he needs to be quiet, but does realise Sam is on edge and...
Yeah, we heard that at the top of the show. He thinks that Abigail is a sweet age, but Sam explains what's been going on.
Al doesn't have any new information, as apparently there was a flood in the 70s which destroyed the local records.
Convenient.
Very convenient, yes. My mobile phone ran out of battery. No signal.
My communicator doesn't work with this grey cloud.
But Sam then finds a pile of unsent love letters addressed to his wife, Laura.
He does.
And as he ponders them, he is overheard by the sleepy Abigail.
Don't blame
What are you
me.
doing up, honey?
I heard you talking to her.
Talking to...
You still miss her, don't you?
Miss her?
I miss her too.
Sounds like the mother must have died, poor kid.
You mean your mother?
I talk to her sometimes.
Come here. It's okay to talk to people that have gone away. It helps us keep them in our hearts.
Why won't you talk back?
Ziggy doesn't have anything on these people. But, the mother could have...
Don't say it.
Say what?
See, it's just that sometimes people don't have to say anything. for us to understand them in our hearts.
I love you so much, Daddy.
I love you too.
You won't ever go away, will you?
No,
Promise you won't ever go away?
I promise I will be here as long as you need me. Now, come on, get to bed, it's late.
Let's have a picnic tomorrow, Daddy.
Picnic?
Just you and me. And I'll get all dressed up and pick you up. Won't that be lovely?
That'd be lovely. Now go get some sleep.
Good night, Daddy.
Night.
She's an odd one.
That last bit, which asks him to have the picnic, I guess another example of her manipulating him to behave the way she wants, but it's so creepy.
Does she say that I'll pick you up?
Yeah, it's like we're going
Kid
to
doesn't
date.
say that. Yeah.
We're going to date, Daddy.
And also, we'll get dressed up for what, a local picnic? Why would you get dressed? You get dressed down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. She's obviously compensating for something.
Yeah, she's just a weird chick. I don't like her.
Al calls her a real sweetie. I don't think he's really cottoned on to what's happening here.
No. And after she gets back to her room, he states that, Al that is, there is no reason to think she dies in the future. That's not why Sam's there. But he is still concerned about the lack of facts being presented to him by Ziggy.
Yes, he tells Al more about Bart Ader and about Abigail's story, and he thinks that she might have seen something more than she said.
But they won't know until the doc can carry out the autopsy. Or Ziggy gets her finger out.
Yeah, and Sam has to apologise to Al at this point for being a bit harsh with him, but he's concerned that Abigail is fragile.
And after Al leaves, Sam looks out the window, but he gets a bit spooked. When
This is bizarre.
Yeah, a draft shuts his bedroom door, and what does he notice?
Well, it opens and closes, and when it's opened, he thinks he sees a ghost of a woman who he doesn't recognise.
Yeah, a woman in white.
Yes, but when he goes out to the corridor, it's Abigail who's standing there.
She's just like Orphan. Have you seen Orphan? Yeah.
No, but she looks like one of these children out The Shining or something. She's super creepy.
Yeah.
She says goodnight and then kind of disappears through the wall or
Not
something.
just that. She says goodnight. This evil little smirk
Yeah,
on
as
her
if
face.
I've just murdered you and you don't realise yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next morning in the town, daily life goes on around them as Sam listens to Loman telling a guy called Will Kinman, I think the son of the doctor,
Yes.
that Bart didn't look any better when he was alive than he does now he's dead.
No. Will's got a stutter.
It's quite irritating, isn't it?
Is it?
I mean, I'm not, no offence to folk with stammers, I understand it's a difficult issue, but it's one of these ones that's
Frustrating.
difficult to listen to. It's and it's not his fault. Well, maybe it is. He might be putting it on. But, it's challenging to stay in the moment, isn't it?
Okay.
Anyhow, what Will manages to say is that someone who drank the stuff that Bart did was bound to waste away to nothing, according to his father. How old do we think Will is? This is quite important.
I think, he's probably, generally the actors are older than the characters replaced. I'm thinking the character's going to be around 15, 16.
I thought maybe slightly older, but yeah, in that ballpark. Certainly far too old to have a
friend.
sexual interest in Abigail, who's 10.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll just note that down at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he shouldn't even want to hang about with her. There's at that age where he would find her annoying.
Yes. Certainly wouldn't have any kind of affection beyond maybe a brotherly
Not even,
affection.
even a brother at that point, at that age, the brother and
And especially how creepy she is.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's, if he had that sort of attention on her, it would be in a sort of groomer sort of way, wouldn't it?
You would think so, yeah. Now, at this point, Sam picks up a photograph from his desk which shows Abigail and his wife together, and we see that she is the woman in white from the previous ghostly visit.
So she must be dead then if he's seeing her as
Oh,
a ghost.
well, obviously, you don't see ghosts if someone's still alive.
That'd be-
That's not how it
that'd be
works.
Wild, wouldn't it? Yeah. Loman at this point also interjects that he remembers when Bart used to be a model citizen and he thought he was going to run for mayor. So we've got the start of this sort of backstory where Bart, something has happened. We know something's happened to his daughter anyway.
Yeah.
It seems to have caused him to spiral.
Do you think the local sheriff would run for mayor then? Yeah. Or is he a sheriff or a deputy?
Deputy, I think, yeah.
Yeah, but the deputy wouldn't run for mayor. He would have to be the top sheriff, I'd have thought.
Yeah, well, it's just Loman's opinion that he would run for mayor. It wasn't
Right,
something he
okay.
actually did. Anyway, there's a typical sort of Sam cock up here when he talks in a weird way about Eisenhower
Yeah.
while the others are talking about Harry Truman.
So after a bit of confusion, Lita Ada enters.
Bart's widow.
Yeah, and doesn't want to hear any sympathies, but simply wants to know where her husband is.
Yes. she faces up to, or squares up almost to Sam at this point, who says that he is with the doctor, but she's just come from there.
Yeah, she demands to see him, doesn't care what physical condition he is in. And so Sam sends Will off to his father before trying to explain that the autopsy is still being performed, or it has still to be performed.
Because they need to establish a cause of death. Yeah. But Loman has already told her the cause of death the night before, she says.
Loman's, really needs to keep his mouth shut, I think.
He really should. I think what she says here is, Loman says he fell and hit his head, but is that another fuller lie? So that suggests there's some sort of animus between her and Sam.
Now, he tells her that he can't speculate until the report comes through, before she reminds him that she has lost her daughter 2 years earlier and nothing makes sense to her, and again requests to see her husband. And you can imagine that she would be on the verge of a breakdown under these
you might think
circumstances.
So. Sam, at one point in this conversation, lists possible causes of death, and when he mentions that he might have had a heart attack, she says his heart was fine, but we saw him, he was a massively overweight man.
And
in his 50s or 60s.
Who drank a lot. So that's very likely he had a heart condition. Yeah, it wouldn't be that unusual or that surprising. Now, at this point, Will runs back in and tells her to go to the funeral parlour.
I mean, you've literally been away for about 40 seconds.
I appreciate it's a small town, but would you normally perform an autopsy at a funeral parlour?
I don't think it's a proper autopsy, is it?
No.
Anyway, we'll see this in a minute, because we go to the funeral parlour along with Will and Sam and Lita, and the body is uncovered, and Lita looks a little bit sad and a little bit angry.
And so Sam and the doc give her some privacy by heading outside to the street, where Sam is able to glean some information about their past.
You sure she's gonna be all right up there?
Lita? Oh, she's the strongest woman I know. When her little girl disappeared, everyone thought it'd be Lita that followed the path. She stood steady as a rock. Bart crumbled like old china. He always thought it was all his fault.
His fault?
They couldn't have any more kids because of his prostate. It was a miracle they had Violet.
I don't understand. How is that his fault?
It seems how I remember Bart felt it made him feel less a man. So we talked a lot about it, and I thought I got him turned around.
Until Violet died.
If only they'd have known for sure what happened to her, but never having found that child's body, never knowing for sure. Poor Violet. Next to your Abigail, she was the prettiest little girl in this parish. But I don't need to tell you that.
Can I get you something? Drink water or...
No, I just need some air. Thank you.
I'd be happy to walk with you.
That's fine. I'd rather be by myself. Sheriff, I know there are some forms to fill out, but if you could just give me a few moments, I'd be happy
Of course,
to come
I'll be in my office all day.
I don't need all day. I just need some air.
Clayton, I need to have a word with you.
Oh, he should be on a list.
I'm sure he is, a register.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, deeply insensitive in his comments about Bart, whose daughter died, and he's critical of him for being emotional about it and not just being able to handle it. And then revealing all these secrets about his sexual impotence, which is completely irrelevant to anything else that's going on, just because he thinks it's a good story.
Yeah.
And then talking about a couple of 8-year-olds as being very pretty.
Oh, comparing
which one's prettier.
Yep.
That's a wrrong-un if ever I saw one.
Yeah, this town is full of them, to be fair.
Well, yes, it's a town full of wrong-uns, but he is the wrongest one so far.
So far.
Anyway, he takes Sam back up to where the body is to give him some information, and let's be honest, he doesn't come across very professional here either.
The doc?
Yeah.
What does he say?
Like, well, I think this. It might be this. So I can't really relate what you're saying, but I like this idea.
Yeah. Al's joined him, I think, at this point as well.
Yeah. He confirms to Kinman that Bart's death is due to heart failure.
Mm-hmm.
But then he wants to add a narrative because he wants to go beyond his job and be the guy that knows everything. He says it could have been before or after he was hit in the head. It could have been that it was caused by the blow to the head. That's not your job to figure that out, Mr. Doctor Man.
No.
You just say what he died from, and we, the police, will work out what happened. Mm-hmm. He shows Sam some marks on Bart's arm, but he can't say for sure whether they were caused by him falling, which Sam suggests is possible. But then at this point, Sam is almost trying to defend Abigail in absence. No, it's like trying to fit it in with her version of the story. Oh.
Yeah. Al thinks it's all getting a bit Sherlock Holmes, as Sam offers that maybe he had a heart attack from being attacked.
Well, yeah, but Sherlock, as in investigating the crime, that's Sam's job. He's the sheriff. That's what he should be doing. But anyway, Kinman at this point points out, and this again, completely inappropriate thing to say, it's a weird coincidence that Abigail was the last person to see Violet and the last person to see Bart. That's not scientific in any way. That doesn't prove anything about anything.
It doesn't prove anything, but he's got a point.
It's just that she's creepy.
Yeah, and hangs about with people who end up dead.
Yeah, well, they've been here for maybe 4 minutes, at which point Will rushes in again. He spends his whole life rushing into places. He says Sam needs to come quick because something's going on with Lita at the sheriff's office.
There is a pandemonium there. Lita is having to be kept from the child and accuses her of having the same evil smell that she had at Violet's funeral service. Now, if her smell was anything like what we saw in the hall after the ghost lady, I am perfectly on Lita's side here. She's got a creepy little smell.
I'm not sure it's worth yelling at her over, though.
Don't know. She's under stress. She's lost her husband and her daughter.
That's true, and insensitive to that, Will at one point is right up in her face, screaming to stay away from Abigail. So we see this, Will's got this sort of instinct to intervene on Abigail's behalf.
Yeah. She also accuses her of watching him die, and the local lawyer is shouted down by Bo when he tells Abigail that she is not obliged to answer anything. Now, again, it's not, the lawyer's correct. This is a child as well. Yes. She doesn't have to say anything. Why is the sheriff trying to confuse her with regards to her rights?
I don't know. He yells at this guy that he's told him before about soliciting in the sheriff's office.
He's not soliciting, really. He's just... And again, how many different... When you say soliciting, if she's been accused of murder, she's going to require a legal representative. And it's not as if it's in the big city. He probably will get the gig.
You would think so. Sam intervenes at this point anyway, saying that Abigail doesn't need a lawyer. And an upset and agitated Abigail declares that it's not her fault, just like Violet wasn't her fault.
Yeah, she does seem to be involved in a lot of death, mind you.
Well, involved, a shame.
This sends Lita over the edge, and she attempts to go for the kid while accusing her of being the devil. And again, I'm pretty much Team Lita here at this point.
I think there's a middle ground here where, neither of them are particularly...
No, but I can understand the stress and having lost. She's emotionally unstable at this point. So
just let the police deal with it.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, Kinman and Loman hold Lita back at this point and on Sam's orders take her outside. There's not a lot of empathy going around in this office. Everyone's kind of fixed in their sides and their positions. Yeah.
Abigail insists that she doesn't like her and didn't like her husband or her daughter either. She's not helping herself.
Well, she's just being honest. Not liking someone doesn't mean you killed them.
No.
There's plenty of folk that you don't like.
Oh, yeah, there are. Yeah, but
most of them are still alive.
So far.
Yeah.
She wants to leave, but Al wants to speak to Sam urgently. So Sam tells her to sit with Will as he gets into the office.
So initially I wondered why he was asking her to sit with Will, because Marie was there, but Marie's leaving.
Yes.
And Marie says that she's left a picnic basket on Delta's desk and she'll be back over later to fix their supper.
Mm-hmm. So in the office room.
Yes, Sam pulls out the Violet Ader file and reads up on what happened there.
Yeah, finds out that she disappeared, but the community gave up looking when they found her torn and bloodied sweater and assumed that wild dogs got to her. I mean, what are you talking about here?
That sounds like the kind of cover-up story that you might...
Meryl Streep?
You might use if you knew what had happened.
Yes.
The dogs were apparently destroyed, but Al has more information and it's concerning.
Yeah, Sam, as Clayton, called off the investigation.
Not only that, but his life is about to come to a premature end.
Why?
There's going to be a fire at their home of undetermined cause the next day, and both he and Abigail will die. But Sam doesn't even react to this. He just asks whether Abigail could be capable of murder. He's obviously now on that track. He doesn't mention this fire in this scene or the next scene.
No. And when he asks this question, they both turn and they just look at this creepy child and you go, she
really good, yeah. At their picnic, Sam remains unconcerned about his imminent fiery death and instead fixates on the unlikely notion that his 10-year-old daughter is a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean, it's unusual, but it does happen. There are child killers out there.
Normally that means people who kill children, though, isn't it?
It normally does, but there have been many famous incidents.
Okay. He reflects on this ghost that he saw before Abigail distracts him talking about some flowers.
But also before that, he does consider if Abigail is capable of recreating the image of her mother in the middle of the night, and I'd say yeah, she's a wee freak.
How would you go about that?
I don't know, but someone has. I mean, either Sam is seeing things.
I think Sam is seeing things.
Which is weird. Why would Sam be seeing things? Clayton, maybe, if he's lost his memory, Sam hasn't.
If it was based in reality, I would say the most likely thing is that Sam's caught a glimpse of her in a photo in the house without realising it. And it's in his brain, and that's why he's seeing that face when he's actually seen Abigail, but his brain's made a dodgy connection. Again,
I would accept that if it was the real person who is under emotional stress, but this is Sam. Sam should not be seeing having
Sam's
visions.
constantly under emotional duress, isn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, sorry, where were we? Abigail, she's picked up some flowers, but drops them when she realises they smell like her mother.
She tells Sam that her mother left because of her, and Sam at this point must really freak her out with what he says.
What's that?
He says that he can't remember the argument he had with her mother. Can she please repeat it back to him?
Yeah, but I suppose he does have to, if he wants to find out, he has to be a little bit unsubtle.
Yeah. She tells him that she remembers the rain and the thunder and that it was hard to hear, but she heard yelling and...
Well, she had her mother yell that Violet lied when she said that her gran killed all the babies except for her mother, right? So this is where it gets really, really, really dark.
Yeah,
here.
So there's an urban myth, and it comes up again later on.
I'm not sure it's an urban myth. It's
certainly an urban
rumour.
Legend, we'll put it that way.
It's a local rumour.
That Abigail's grandmother, her mother's mother, killed all of her own children, we don't know how many, apart from Abigail's mother, Laura, by slitting their throats and then slitting her own throat.
Yeah, I mean, this is Quantum Leap.
It's a bit dark.
Very, very dark, yeah. Yeah, and apparently Violet said they were all crazy and that when Abigail had kids, they would also be mentally unwell. And I think Violet could be right.
I'm not sure that that sort of thing's hereditary. I don't know if there's any evidence for that.
I don't know.
Sam says there's not.
Okay.
Anyhow, Abigail says that hearing that caused her to attack Violet. She was teasing her about this locket, saying that they were poor and crazy, and that's why she had the locket and Abigail didn't. So Abigail punched her until her hand hurt. Violet was... We see this in flashback. Yeah. Violet's not upset, really. She's kind of laughing at her.
No, but this isn't just a childish sort of slap or one punch.
I mean, she's only 8 years old
she's
at the time.
She's on top of her and she's raining punches down, blows into this. She could severely injure her. She could potentially kill her.
We see that there's blood all over Violet's sweater, but she runs off saying she's going to tell her mother and then is never seen again.
I mean...
But her sweater's found. We know that.
Yeah. So we do know that Abigail, on the day she died, violently assaulted her. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it may well have been that. She runs away and she's got some concussion, drops dead, falls in the water later on because of the damage done by Abigail.
I suspect we will eventually find out.
Well, I suspect we will, but at this point, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Brain injury.
Could be. Sam, though, has reached a different conclusion.
What's that?
He tells Abigail point blank it is not her fault. And even though Abigail says she wanted Violet to die, Sam says that's not the same thing as killing her. She goes on to say that she also wanted Bart to die.
She's a little freak.
But Sam asks...
At the very least, she is mentally unwell.
Why is she wishing death on people?
That's what I'm saying. Children of her age should not... wishing death.
In certain circumstances, like if she suffered some sort of extreme loss or something,
abuse herself, trauma herself.
There's no evidence of that. At this point, she's got a mother and a father alive and well.
She's
and
been
with her.
taunted. She's been bullied. That's all.
Yeah, it's not enough to hate a whole family.
You're poor. I mean, that unfortunately happens the world over.
Yeah, kids are a pain in the neck. They do that sort of thing.
They're scum. Kids are generally scum.
Most of them.
Well, all of them. So, and she is admitting that she has thoughts of she wishes death. That is not normal behaviour. She does need to be...
She should see a therapist at the very least.
Very least. That beating earlier on, you could argue that would end up in some sort of borstal, some sort of young offenders institute.
She may be below the age of criminal responsibility in that state. It just depends.
But you could still be locked up, mentally...
treated in some way, yeah.
Yeah, criminally unwell.
Yeah. Anyway.
The devil child then admits to hitting Bart.
Yeah, she said he was yelling at her to give the locker back. Well, no, she doesn't say she hit him.
No, I think she does.
She says that he was yelling at her to give the locket back, and Sam, at this point, intervenes and asks where the locket is.
No, I think, I've taken a note here, I could be wrong, but I thought she said that she did. He was yelling, and he hit her, and she hit her.
I didn't write that down. Maybe. It's either way, it's a highly emotional confrontation because taking place.
Because here's the thing, yeah, it's his dead kid's locket.
Yeah.
Now,
but does he have any reason to think she's got it?
She's already admitted that she wanted it and was saving up for it.
Yeah, but
so if someone's going to steal it, she's the most likely suspect.
But the child's missing. Is there any way to know it's not with the child that's missing?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they came to that. I would assume that it would be on the body.
You would have thought that would be the first instinct.
Yeah.
Anyway,
unless Violet prior to this has said that it's went missing,
or Abigail said something taunting them at some point, saying I've got that locket, or they've seen her with the locket. I don't know. In any event, she reacts badly when Sam asks where Violet's locket is by saying it's not Violet's locket, it's hers. She was entitled to it because she and her mother were saving for it.
She doesn't deny stealing it.
She says that Violet bought it out of spite.
Well, but you're allowed to do that. It's not illegal.
And when she tries to leave, Sam violently grabs her by the arm, which causes her to turn around and loudly deny killing anyone.
She's not right.
She says her mother told her that he would keep her safe, and he wants to know what she's to be kept safe from. But then she starts being super creepy again.
And says, yeah, tell me all the ways you love me. Just get her to F.
He doesn't do it though. He's not really up for that. He does let her snuggle into him a little bit. Yeah. And we see creepy Lita now watching from behind a tree in some sort of weird cartoon style.
This is just hillbilly stuff, isn't it? All these people in this area, this backwater somewhere. The local sheriff and the murderer and the dodgy doctor who also does the funeral home stuff like Jimmy Savile. Dodgy guys. Anyway.
In the sheriff's office again, Sam is reviewing Violet's file as Delta takes calls in reception.
Young Will tells Sam that his dad is bringing in an external coroner to carry out a more full autopsy and asks about Abigail after the way Lita spoke to her. And I think he mentions the apparent lies.
Well, there's a bit of a confusion because when he asks if she is all right, Sam assumes he means Lita.
Yeah.
But he very creepily means Abigail. Yeah. And I've written here, he's clearly got an inappropriate interest in.
Yeah.
Sam, I think, recognises that as well.
Yeah, so I think Will mentions the apparent lies that has been spread about the madness in the family, including his wife's mother slitting her own throat. And this stuns Sam, because he hasn't, to this point, heard...
I think he's heard it, we talked about it a wee bit earlier on, it was like mentioned in passing. But this is the first time he really gets a bit more detail.
No, yes, well, how she killed herself.
Yeah.
He's stunned, but he uses it as a means of finding out more and asks Will to sit down and tell him what he has heard.
Well, I knew old Mr. Devereaux. He worked at the hospital near Peach, and he said that he found all those children with their throats cut open. All of them, except your wife.
Laura's mother killed her children, and then herself.
No. Old Mr. Devereaux said that Retta Lanchette lost her husband and then lost all her money, and then she lost her mind. The story goes that she said she'd rather kill her babies and see them starve. So is that true? All that stuff, I mean?
That's what they say.
Sheriff, you think what Lee Dater says about that kind of craziness is true? About Abigail being touched because of her mama and her grandmama?
Emotional breakdowns are not hereditary.
Lee Dater says that your wife couldn't stand the truth.
Abigail is not crazy, Will.
I know, Sheriff. Well, I'll take care of this paperwork and tell Mr. Takins to drive Bart Ader on up to Shreveport. Sheriff.
Thank you, Will.
That's pretty dark stuff.
Yeah. Sam, obviously, he insisted that Abigail wasn't crazy, but I'm not sure that he's convinced by that at all. Al arrives at this point and says that Sam's not saved Abigail yet because she's still going to die in the fire, but he has more information about Laura, the mother of Abigail.
Yeah, before that, Sam's quite frantic. He insists that Abigail won't die as she is spending the night with Marie. Why doesn't he take her away? If she's going to die in a certain place, don't let her go away with someone who you can't control her. You've no way of knowing if she comes back to this place.
Yeah.
If she dies here on this date, put her in the car and you go on the road and drive all night.
Why not?
Yeah. And yeah, what are you saying about Laura?
She's not dead. She is a ghost, obviously, but she's also alive and in an asylum.
Yeah, a private medical facility for the mentally ill. That's not how ghosts work.
No, unless ghosts aren't linear and she dies in the future and then haunts the past.
Yeah, okay. So an excited Sam gets ready to go speak with her. And as he does, he tells Al to dig into Laura's family.
The Lanchettes.
Yes. And he explains some of their gruesome history to him.
Yeah, which Al thinks is too weird.
Yeah, he then delicately remarks that it's no wonder Laura is in a nut house.
Yeah. So we head to the nut house where Sam in voiceover notes that Laura was committed on the night of that argument that Abigail heard, and he thinks she has a secret that will set Abigail free. Where's he getting that from?
He's making it up, yeah.
Does he think that Laura killed Violet, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Or is aware of what happened?
In her room, she rocks in a chair in a catatonic trance as Sam tells Al that this was the woman he saw in the hall.
Does this happen in real life? Because this happens a lot in movies where folk are in a mental institution rocking in a chair, not speaking to anybody.
Yeah, I think it might, yeah.
Does it?
I think the rocking part does, yeah. I think.
But the not speaking and just being in a trance-like state, is that a real thing?
I think it is a real thing. I'm not sure how common it is, but I think it is real, yes. Now, I'm assuming that she can see Al. I think.
Yes, well, we find that out when he leaves. So Sam asks her questions about what happened the day that Violet disappeared and says he wants to help Abigail and unlock Laura's mind to find out what she knows. But Al reminds him that they already do know why Lita's angry.
And also that Laura has been here for 2 years like this, so she's unlikely to have any new information. So Sam kneels in front of his wife and begs her to reveal what happened on the day Violet disappeared in order that they can help their daughter.
But Al reminds him that Lita must be the one. She thinks Abigail killed Violet and Bart. She must be who burns the house down, thinking she's doing the right thing. And at this point, I'm noting maybe it's not her, maybe Abigail starts the fire because she seems creepy enough.
She can certainly do it, yeah. In any case, Laura remains silent, and Sam thinks he's got to try and unlock her mind and dismisses Al's reasonable suggestion that maybe she knows nothing.
Yeah. At this point, Sam asks Al to do a check with Ziggy on Abigail. And he says that nothing's changed. She still dies in the fire. And not only that, she's at the house right now.
And so obviously they rush off.
And as they do, when Al disappears, we see Laura kind of grasping the air where he was and tears running down her face. So we assume she's seen him.
Meanwhile, we see Abigail enter her darkened home and shout for her daddy. And this is because Lita told her that he was hurt and then sinisterly tells her she wants to talk.
It's Marie.
Marie's not coming, Abigail.
You said she was right behind us. I want my father!
This time, it's just you and me, Abigail. No one to disturb us. No one to hear your lies and see your perfect little performance.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I want the truth. I want Violet's locket.
Daddy!
You're all dead, Violet and Bart, but not you.
Let me go.
Oh, not you. Everybody thinks you're
Stop
so
it.
sweet and so innocent, but I know the truth. You killed my Violet and then you killed my Bart.
That's a lie. I didn't
Fight
kill her.
with Violet, didn't you?
She just said I was crazy.
So you killed her?
No.
You killed my only daughter.
No.
Oh, she said you were crazy, so you hit her.
I just wanted her to stop. She wouldn't stop.
You hit her and you hit her.
Hey, let her go, you witch!
Her nose was bleeding.
And she tried to run away, but you grabbed her and you tore that sweater. You tore it right off.
Sam, you better get here quick!
She tried to run away, but you grabbed her, hit her, and you kept on hitting her until she didn't move anymore.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop! Please, you're hurting me.
Did Violet ask you to stop? Did she beg you to stop hurting her?
Let me go.
Did my baby cry out to you for mercy?
Good, she's hitting me on Sam!
Abigail. You who killed her, Abigail!
I didn't kill her!
Sam, you gotta get there. Lita's got Abigail. She's accusing her of killing her daughter and her husband and all that, and she's getting violent.
How much
Sam.
time do I have?
There's no way to know.
How much time?
There's no record,
until I
Sam.
get to the house. 7 minutes and 13 seconds.
Damn these back roads.
Well, if you could fly, you'd be there by now. Just hurry up.
I want you to go back to the house, Al.
There's nothing I can do there, Sam.
Go and be with her, please. Just be with her.
Did you hide upstairs?
I told you I don't ever lock
Don't you hit her!
And then I will know.
Abigail, just say
Know
you're
the
gonna
truth.
give her the locket, even if you don't have it, just to get away.
Yes,
There you
I'm
go.
gonna have it. Just don't touch me. Don't hit me. It's upstairs in my treasure box.
Okay, now let her go.
So she said there to Lita that it's in her treasure box, but we know it's not because we've seen it at the side of the lake, unless she's gone back and got it. But we don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
Lita wants Abigail to show her the locket, but she's not able to follow her up the stairs because Abigail kicks out.
Well, I think Lita slaps her first of all.
Yeah, well, we heard that on the clip.
Yes.
Yes, I suppose we should explain the noise. Yes, that's what that was. So an upset Abigail kicks out and Lita falls down the stairs, potentially to her death.
That, I mean, obviously being slapped isn't nice, but what I would say is that back in the day, an adult slapping a kid, well, it's obviously horrific and you wouldn't do it these days, it wasn't that unusual. You can't kick someone down the stairs for it for a slap.
I don't think she's just trying to get away.
Right,
she's
okay.
deliberately attacking Lita. She's just trying to escape her grasp.
Yeah, okay.
But Abigail runs up the stairs and we head back to Sam, who makes a terrible error.
It was quite funny, I thought.
it was hilarious.
So he's speeding to the house, but ends up knocking down Marie.
He just mows her down, and then he gets angry at her for breaking her leg.
Yeah, she's lying in pain in the road, and she reveals that Abigail has gone from her house and doesn't know where she is.
Sam does know where she is.
And also diagnoses a broken leg for Marie.
Yeah, which he's angry about.
Yeah.
Which he caused. Yes. And somehow it's also the far away leg from where the car hit her.
She tells him to go on, she's okay, but Sam refuses and instead helps her into the car.
Yes.
In the house, Al is hoping that Abigail can find a hiding place as we see Lita light a lantern and start to climb the stairs.
The reason she lights the lantern is because the lights aren't working because Sam didn't fix the fuse, which was talked about earlier.
Yeah, yes.
So she's not lit this to cause a fire.
No.
She just wants to find Abigail. Abigail doesn't know where to hide and eventually shuts herself in a cupboard that then the latch falls over from the outside, unfortunately.
Yeah. Lita is about to open it, but gets distracted by a noise and we see Sam arrive downstairs.
Al tells him not to shout on Abigail because she's hiding, but Lita is furious that he's got back before she can deal with the girl.
I think it's Lita that's threatening to kill them all at this point.
She just shouts that she'll kill them all. I mean, there's only two of them. That's just the wrong
weird
word.
Yeah.
Kill them both, she should say.
She drops her lantern. Was that deliberate or no? I think it just slips out her hand.
It's not clear, but it catches fire very quickly.
And within seconds, the entire floor is engulfed. But Sam manages to rescue his terrified daughter and follows Al's instruction to use the window. And by this time, some of the locals have gathered, including Will, and they help bring the kid down.
Yes, and rather than follow her out the window, Sam turns around where he sees Lita but mistakes her for Laura.
Yes.
In the flames. I think that's what's meant to be happening.
Yeah.
By the time he realises it's Lita and Al says it's Lita, she's going to be fine, she escapes a different way, it's too late for Sam to get out the window.
The roof starts to collapse and in fact lands on him. But he then fortunately leaps.
Yes, just before he expires.
Where does he leap into?
He arrives in a bedroom having sex with a young woman.
Yeah, underneath this person who declares her love for him before he rolls over and they continue their amorous activity. Sam, why is he doing this? He doesn't know who he is. Calm down. You don't need to get stuck into this.
Well, he clearly feels he's in the right position.
Quite likes it, yeah.
Marie, who's now looking much older, comes in.
Yeah, yes.
And helps Sam realise that he is now Will Kinman. And then moments later that the girl is Abigail. So Sam is now having sex with his own 10-year-old daughter.
Was really...
This is the worst thing that's ever been on television. I don't understand why it's not on these lists of the worst things that have ever been produced.
It's creepy writing, isn't it?
It is disturbing. My all notes are this is gross and I feel sick.
Yes. Yeah. He is leapt from literally being protective of this person. Fair enough, she's older, but still it's the same person. He was being hopefully very
and he is
fatherly.
Still Sam. The same body. We've established this.
Yep.
So he's now leapt and is literally having sex with his own 10-year-old daughter.
It's just...
Well, she's not that she's older now. She's 21.
Yeah.
Because it's 11 years later, but...
Still.
That's not for him. In his head, she was just 10 a second ago.
It's Trumpian.
Well, that's one way to put it. It's perverse and it's criminal, in my opinion.
But maybe not in that part of the world at that time.
Well, And then over the end credits, you get super creepy music.
Oh, sorry, you missed it. Also, they're getting married the next day.
Yes, they're engaged. So Will's predatory behaviour's paid off.
Oh, yeah, he's waited a long time for this.
He's been grooming her for quite a number of years.
He has been, hasn't he?
Yeah, quite obviously, yes.
Yeah.
And, and as I say, there's super, super creepy music over the end credits as we get a recap of the entire episode.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I felt sick. Really sick. Just when I realised what was going on there.
I'm not sure why they had to have this.
But they could have been in any circumstance. They could just have been kissing under a tree or in a bench.
Even if the relationship is awkward and icky, but if you didn't present it in a sexual situation, then you can.
I mean, it feels like it's been done for shock value at this stage, because I don't imagine there's any narrative purpose to them being in bed together, unless she's going to get pregnant from this and
all sorts of problems.
Have Sam's baby.
Yeah. And then we get a to be continued.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, we've got a lot. I mean, this is obviously a trilogy, so hopefully these things will unravel. We'll discuss
it can only get worse.
Detail. It can, yeah.
Who's he going to be in bed with in the next episode?
Yeah, I like that. I like the episode. I like the fact that it is awkward and it's strange.
It's a good story,
but it's a good story. Yeah,
that every character
they're all
wronging.
They are. Yeah. Well, but I think
that makes it interesting.
It does. Yeah. It could be anyone. Yeah. If it was an obvious bad guy, then you can't have a trilogy.
Yeah, I suppose.
But yeah, so thoroughly enjoyable, I thought.
Yeah, that was really good. Mm-hmm. Shall we get through some trivia?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, because we've got we'll talk about this in great detail over the coming weeks. So
no doubt. This originally aired on the 17th of November 1992, directed by James Whitmore Jr., 11th of his 15. We want to hear more about him. Back to the podcast for Jimmy. We saw him here. He had a cameo. He was the reflection of Sheriff Fuller. Deborah Pratt gets the solo writing credit on this one and the blame for the bits we didn't like or were concerned about. This is the 16th of her 20 writing credits. If you want to hear more about her, go back to The Colour of Truth. More about that in a moment. Mary Gordon Murray played Lita. First of 3 quantum leaps for her.
Okay.
A Tony Award nominee. She's appeared on screen in things like Junior, Poison Ivy, Murder, She Wrote, and Nip Tuck. She's now 70, and her most recent screen credit was in 2019. Doc Kinman was played by Max Wright. First of 2 quantum leaps for him. Also a Tony Award nominee. He appeared on screen in things like Murder, She Wrote, Friends, the movie version of one of my favourite books, Snow Falling on Cedars, probably best known as Willie Tanner from Alf. He had a bit of a rough time in later years and died at the age of 75 in 2019.
What's the rough time?
I think a couple of drink driving convictions and some salacious behaviours.
What was it? Drink driving, or was it DUI?
Well, that's the same thing. Well, it could be drugs, I suppose.
Yes, well, it might be drugs, because apparently he developed a crack habit, and there was video footage of him having gay orgies with homeless crack addicts. So quite an interesting... I don't know why I'm laughing, but...
That's a valid lifestyle choice.
Oh,
the driving's not. You shouldn't be doing that afterwards.
The driving, it's certainly valid, but interesting.
Yeah. Stephen Lee played Loman.
And we've not mentioned snooker for a while. Is it Stephen Lee who has got the Rolls Royce of a Q action?
Well, it's spelt the same way. This was the first of 3 quantum leaps for him. He's also in the classic 80s movie War Games, as well as shows like Star Trek The Next Generation, Babylon 5, ER, and The West Wing. And he appeared with Scott Bakula in the TV adaptation of Gung Ho. But he died in 2014 at the age of just 58 following a heart attack. Fran Bennett played Marie, second of 4 quantum leaps for her, and it was the episode Justice, in which she previously appeared in a similar sort of role. Will Kinman was played by Travis Fine, first of 2 quantum leap credits for him, although I suspect his role in this next episode might be smaller. He's also been in things like Child's Play 3, Cagney and Lacey, and Girl Interrupted. His most recent screen acting credit was in 2010, since when he's produced and directed a couple of minor films alongside working as a pilot for American Airlines.
I'm assuming you're going to mention Cagney and Lacey again in a second.
Oh, maybe. He's now 56. Abigail was played by Kimberly Cullum, first of 2 quantum leaps for her. A child star, she also appeared in shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Star Trek The Next Generation, and Home Improvement. Her younger sister Caitlin had a similar career, appearing in the movie Galaxy Quest and having a regular role in Grace Under Fire, in which Kimberly also made a couple of guest appearances. Kimberly's now 42 years old. She doesn't act anymore as far as I am aware. Laura Fuller was played by Meg Foster, first of 3 quantum leaps for her. Probably best known as Evil Lynn from the Masters of the Universe movie. Fantastic performance there. She's also appeared in things like Bonanza, The Lords of Salem, The Twilight Zone, ER, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine,
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote, Cagney and Lacey.
Oh, okay. Tell me about Cagney and Lacey.
Was she not one of the original stars or leads?
Yes, she was. I think in the pilot she was maybe Cagney, but she obviously got dark hair as well. So against Tyne Daly, they thought...
If only there was some way to change that.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, they swapped her out with Sharon Gless.
She's now 76, still active. W.K. Stratton played Larry Stanton III, the lawyer. This was the third of 5 Quantum Leaps removed. We've not mentioned him before. I think the last time he came in, we said we'll wait till season 5.
Kept putting him off, right?
He was in Genesis right at the start, and he was in Goodnight, Dear Heart. But this is his most notable role. He's also appeared in shows like Flying Misfits, Starsky and Hutch, Battlestar Galactica, and Murder, She Wrote. And he's now 74. He remains active, but primarily works behind the scenes. He's been a regular collaborator with Donald P. Bellisario, and he appeared in the pilots of 4 of his shows: Magnum P.I., Quantum Leap, Airwolf, and Jag.
Very good.
Delta, the receptionist at the sheriff's office, was played by Beth Aylward, first of 2 Quantum Leaps for her. She also appeared in Wayne's World, Forrest Gump, Seinfeld, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, amongst other things. In the flashback, we saw young Violet Ader, played by Heather Lauren Olsen, first of 2 Quantum Leaps for her. A regular on Days of Our Lives. She also appeared in Star Trek The Next Generation, the Leave It to Beaver movie, and Suddenly Susan. She's now 41, and her last screen appearance was in 2004. Some general trivia. Leap takes place on the exact same date as The Colour of Truth. It's also Sam's birthday. I think he would have been 2 that day in his own life. Given that both episodes are written by Deborah Pratt, maybe it's a date of significance to her. I can only guess. It's the 8th time, I believe, Al is seen by someone other than Sam. Apparently there's some curious similarities between the plot of this episode and the movie The Bad Seed from 1956. Folk might enjoy looking into that. Kimberly Cullum, who was Abigail, won a Young Artists Award for Best Young Guest Star for her performances in this and the third part of the trilogy. In terms of things that we learned, Al has got his issues with dead bodies still. Anything else?
No.
Okay. On this date, 8th of August 55, we weren't doing this feature when we did The Colour of Truth, so we can go for it. Fidel Castro formed the 26th July movement in Cuba. Test flight was abandoned and a research aircraft was lost after an explosive accident near Edwards Air Force Base in California. Pilot of the test craft was able to evacuate to the mothership before it was jettisoned and destroyed over the desert. And actress Grace Hartman died at the age of 48.
Number 1s. The UK had Slim Whitman with Rosemary, whilst in the USA it was Bill Haley and his Comets with Rock Around the Clock. Also, the actor, a lot of B movies and actions, Branscombe Richmond was born.
Okay. Next week, Sam picks up the story 11 years on in For Your Love, otherwise known as Trilogy Part 2. So, we'll see you in 1966.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye-bye.